Lillian always thought she was doing everything right. At 72, she kept a tidy home, cooked fresh meals, and never missed a doctor's appointment. The more tests, the better, she would tell herself. After all, wasn't it common sense to stay ahead of any health problems? But everything changed the day her friend Ruth collapsed after what seemed like a simple follow-up appointment. That's when Lillian started to wonder, could too many checkups actually backfire after 70? Have you ever had a medical test that made you feel more anxious than reassured? You're not alone. Every year, millions of seniors like Lillian undergo tests believing they're protecting their health, without realizing some of these routine checkups may do more harm than good. Today, we're going to uncover the hidden truth most doctors don't openly share. It's not about skipping healthcare. It's about choosing wisely to protect both your body and peace of mind. And here's the shocking fact. Up to 37% of medical tests in seniors lead to unnecessary treatments, complications, or side effects that may last a lifetime. Even worse, the majority of people over 70 have no idea they're being overtested. Instead of feeling empowered, they leave clinics confused, sometimes on medication they never truly needed. The good news? Lillian's story didn't end in fear. She learned a healthier way forward. Not by avoiding care altogether, but by focusing on what truly matters. Meaningful activity, quality rest, and simple, healthy eating habits that nourish your body naturally. And when it comes to medical care, she found out which tests actually protect her health and which ones quietly add more risks. If you've ever wondered which tests are worth it and which might be quietly undermining your quality of life, you're about to find out. Lillian's first eye-opening moment came when she heard about Rose, a 76-year-old retired piano teacher from her local community center. Rose had always been active, attending dance classes, walking daily, and enjoying her weekly book club. Like most seniors, she dutifully went for her annual checkups. One day, her doctor recommended a bone density scan. A simple DEXA scan meant to check her bone strength. No needles, no pain, just a quick scan, right? So, Rose agreed without hesitation. The scan results came back showing osteopenia, a mild thinning of the bones. Immediately, Rose was prescribed a strong medication called bisphosphonate to prevent future fractures. But within 3 months, her life changed for the worse. She developed painful acid reflux, jaw stiffness, and constant fatigue. Playing the piano, once her greatest joy, became impossible. Lillian couldn't believe how quickly a harmless test turned Rose's vibrant days into a string of discomfort and hospital visits. Lillian wanted to understand why. What she found was shocking. Research from the American Geriatric Society followed over 1,200 women above 70 and revealed that treating mild bone loss with medication only reduced fracture risk by 0.3%, a number so tiny it was almost meaningless. Worse, the side effects were often far more disruptive than the bone condition itself. Why does this happen so often? It's because bone density naturally decreases with age. Just like wrinkles and gray hair, it's part of the normal aging process. But many seniors aren't told this truth. They're rushed into medication for conditions that often don't need treatment, all because of a single scan result. And too many end up like Rose, living in fear, dependent on medications, and robbed of simple joys. But there's a brighter path forward. Rose eventually turned her health around, not through more medications, but by strengthening her muscles with gentle resistance exercises, taking vitamin D, and focusing on a diet rich in natural calcium from foods like leafy greens and sardines. Her bones didn't miraculously become 20 years younger, but her energy returned, her posture improved, and most importantly, she started playing the piano again. Lillian realized that caring for your bones after 70 isn't about chasing numbers on a screen. It's about feeling strong, mobile, and independent. That understanding made her curious about other common tests that could be quietly taking away confidence from seniors. And the next test surprised her even more because it affected something deeply personal: memory. After learning about Rose, Lillian felt wiser. She now understood how one small test could spiral into unnecessary medication. But nothing prepared her for what she discovered next, a test that doesn't just lead to medication, but steals peace of mind itself. The brain MRI for memory loss. At her local cafe, Lillian met George, a retired 74-year-old engineer. George seemed sharp, humorous, and well-spoken. Yet, he confessed to feeling uneasy. "I started misplacing my keys more often, forgetting names," he said. "It scared me. What if it's dementia?" Like many seniors, George's doctor responded with a standard protocol, an MRI scan of the brain. George agreed, thinking it would bring clarity. What followed shocked Lillian. The MRI revealed white matter changes, small spots on the brain that doctors labeled as age-related. Suddenly, George wasn't just a lively senior anymore. He was someone with brain abnormalities. He panicked. He quit driving, avoided social outings, and even stopped attending church. His life slowly shrank into quiet isolation. Lillian wanted to know, was George really sick, or was this another case of overtesting gone wrong? Her research led her to a 2021 study published in Neurology Today, which examined over 3,000 MRI scans in people aged 70 to 85 who had minor memory complaints. The results were astonishing. 86% of the scans showed some abnormality, but only 3% of those findings were linked to an actual, treatable disease. This meant nearly everyone who had a scan walked out thinking something was wrong, when in reality, their brain was simply aging normally. Even more troubling, these harmless spots often triggered additional, invasive procedures like spinal taps or even exploratory biopsies. These procedures came with their own set of risks, complications like headaches, infections, and unnecessary hospital stays. George was fortunate. Before undergoing further procedures, he met a doctor who took a different approach. This doctor sat George down and explained something simple yet powerful. Forgetfulness happens, and not all forgetfulness equals disease. George was given a basic cognitive screening test instead, a simple, paper-based assessment used to evaluate memory, attention, and problem-solving skills. His score? Completely normal for his age. Lillian was relieved to hear that with guidance, George reclaimed his confidence. He resumed his daily walks, went back to church, and even started volunteering at a community workshop teaching younger folks how to fix household gadgets. His forgetfulness didn't disappear overnight, but his life became joyful again, free from fear. Lillian realized how close she herself had come to walking the same road. She'd often felt moments of forgetfulness, forgetting why she walked into a room, struggling with names at times. She now understood these moments didn't necessarily mean illness. Instead of rushing to get an MRI the next time she felt mentally foggy, she decided to adopt healthier routines, drinking more water, improving sleep, reducing stress, and practicing brain games that kept her mentally sharp. George's journey taught Lillian something important. It's not the small lapses in memory that cause suffering. It's the fear they create when blown out of proportion. And sometimes, the very tests meant to give answers only deepen that fear. For most older adults, especially those without alarming symptoms like seizures, dramatic personality changes, or rapid mental decline, the better path starts with simple conversation and easy screening, not with intimidating machines that show every wrinkle of the aging brain. Lillian also learned how lifestyle changes could protect memory. She found studies supporting how regular physical activity, good hydration, healthy eating habits, and staying socially active are linked to maintaining brain health well into the golden years. These simple steps felt more empowering than any medical scan ever could. As Lillian reflected on George's story, a realization dawned on her. Too many people around her were living scared, chasing tests that didn't serve them. First it was bones, then memory, and now she was determined to understand what other common checkups might be quietly steering seniors away from living well. Her next discovery took her by surprise because it touched something many older adults worry about: heart health. As Lillian continued her search for clarity, she realized how easy it was for harmless habits to turn into unhealthy patterns. First bones and memory, both areas where well-meaning tests had turned life upside down for people she knew. But what she discovered about heart tests shocked her even more. This time, the risk wasn't just unnecessary medication or fear. It was surgery. She met Raymond, a 75-year-old retired postman who lived just a few blocks away. Raymond was a picture of healthy aging, walking every day, tending to his garden, even fixing fences for neighbors. One day during his annual checkup, He casually mentioned to his doctor that he sometimes felt tired walking up hills. The doctor, concerned, scheduled him for a cardiac stress test to rule out any heart issues. The stress test, which involves walking on a treadmill while being monitored, seemed harmless enough. But for Raymond, it became the start of a downhill spiral. His results came back unclear, prompting further testing, a cardiac catheterization, where a thin tube is threaded to the arteries to check for blockages. They found a mild narrowing and placed a stent. But Raymond's fatigue didn't go away. Instead, he developed new problems. After the procedure, he reacted badly to the contrast eye, damaging his kidneys and forcing him to stay in the hospital for nearly a week. When Lillian read studies about these stress tests, the numbers were just as unsettling. Research published in JAMA Cardiology revealed that for adults over 70, false positives on stress tests were common, with up to 40% of seniors being told they had heart issues when they didn't. Worse, more than half of the follow-up procedures, like stent placements, showed no improvement in survival rates or quality of life for these patients. For Raymond, it wasn't a heart blockage that made him tired. It was simple dehydration and the natural changes of an aging body. After months of recovery, he finally returned to his walks, but with a deeper understanding. Not every symptom requires aggressive testing, especially after 70. His story helped Lillian grasp the importance of knowing when to test and when to simply adjust her daily routine. She also discovered safer ways to monitor heart health. Simple resting EKGs, which check heart rhythms while the body is at rest, and coronary calcium scans, which use lower radiation levels, can often provide enough insight without the risks of stress tests. Lillian became more mindful of paying attention to real symptoms, like chest pain during activity or sudden shortness of breath, instead of every minor discomfort. Each lesson made her feel stronger and wiser, not afraid of getting older, but equipped to make better choices. Yet one question lingered in her mind. If these tests were risky, what about the checkups most people considered absolutely essential? She found her answer in the next discovery, and it involved a test so routine that many seniors scheduled it without a second thought. Lillian couldn't believe how much she had learned already. Every chapter of her journey revealed how common tests could slowly chip away at a senior's well-being. But her next discovery felt personal. It involved a colonoscopy, a test many of her friends scheduled like clockwork, believing it was the ultimate prevention tool. That's when she heard about Dana, a 73-year-old grandmother who ran a small family bakery with her daughter. Dana had no digestive problems, no alarming symptoms, and no family history of colon cancer. Still, her new doctor recommended a routine colonoscopy simply because of her age. Trusting the process, Dana agreed. The preparation itself was brutal. Harsh laxatives, sleepless nights, and dehydration. But what happened next changed her life. During the procedure, a small, harmless polyp was removed. That night, Dana experienced sharp abdominal pain and fainted in her kitchen. She was rushed to the hospital with a bowel perforation, spending over a week in recovery and losing her strength and weight in the process. As Lillian read more, she discovered this wasn't rare. According to JAMA Internal Medicine, for every 1,000 colonoscopies done on patients over 75, only 2 lives were saved, while over 20 seniors faced serious complications. For people like Dana, the risks far outweighed the benefits. Many polyps grow slowly and pose little danger in later years, yet the testing process itself could trigger life-threatening complications. Thankfully, Dana recovered over time, but her experience made Lillian cautious. She learned that after 70, especially after 75, routine colonoscopies are no longer necessary unless clear symptoms appear. Simpler options like FIT tests, which check stool samples without invasive procedures, offered a safer path. What made this lesson empowering for Lillian wasn't just knowing the risks. It was realizing she could still protect herself without putting her body through unnecessary hardship. With each chapter, she gained more confidence in managing her health wisely, understanding the right questions to ask, and most importantly, knowing her choices mattered. Lillian's journey wasn't finished yet. Just when she thought she had seen it all, she came across one final test. One that was sold to seniors as the ultimate way to catch disease early, but came with risks far greater than anyone dared to mention. Lillian felt like she had uncovered a hidden world of truths that seniors were rarely told. She had seen the risks of bone scans, memory tests, heart stress tests, and colonoscopies. But a final chapter of her journey revealed the most shocking lesson yet. The annual full-body CT scan, marketed as a modern miracle but often delivering fear and unnecessary harm. Her neighbor Marcus, an 80-year-old retired martial arts instructor, seemed like the healthiest person in her community. Strong, independent, and full of life, Marcus had no health complaints. Yet, after attending an executive health screening package, he was convinced that a full-body scan would give him peace of mind. Instead, it triggered a health nightmare. The scan detected a tiny nodule in his lung, too small to be dangerous but enough to spark panic. Marcus was sent for follow-up tests, PET scans, then a needle biopsy. The biopsy didn't find cancer, but it caused a lung collapse. What started as a precaution turned into a 2-month recovery. Time spent away from his favorite classes, friends, and his active life. Lillian learned this wasn't an isolated case. Studies showed these scans often caused more problems than they prevented, especially in healthy adults over 70. The high doses of radiation increased long-term risks, and the countless false positives led many down unnecessary medical paths. Experts even estimated that up to 5% of cancers could be linked to radiation from these scans, a number equal to risks from daily alcohol consumption. This realization didn't make Lillian fear healthcare. It made her respect it more. She learned to listen to her body, ask better questions, and prioritize health choices rooted in evidence, not fear. If you enjoyed this story, comment 1. If not, feel free to comment yes.